Welcome back to the King's Corner, the place for all things Bethesda. I am the KingFanMan, and hey, if you love Bethesda, The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and even Starfield, and you're not subscribed yet to the KingFanMan channel, why not? That's all I talk about here, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Ashish Sharma, the CEO of Xbox, just sent out the memo we all knew was coming, announcing thousands of layoffs and major changes inside Xbox. And this time, Bethesda is being hit hard. But maybe it's not as bad as some thought. In this video, we will cover exactly what's going on with every studio inside ZeniMax and Bethesda, including Bethesda Game Studios, so please stay to the end. Let's just start at the top. Xbox announced they are laying off 20% of its workforce throughout this year. 1,600 roles are eliminated immediately, effective Monday, July the 6th, with at least 3,200 roles expected to be cut in the next 12 months. The good news is, so far, no studio is being shut down. Double Fine and Compulsion Games are transitioning into independent studios, while Ninja Theory and Undead Labs are entering into agreements with new ownership. This leads us to the first Bethesda studio, and possibly the worst news of the day, if we can even process better or worse with all this. In Ash's statement, she says this about Arkane Studio. In France, Arkane's management is beginning required consultation with its Works Council to review potential strategic options. She starts that statement with "in France" because in that country, there are many more hoops that you must go through before selling or getting rid of a studio. Sadly, what that statement clearly says to me is Arkane is looking for or working toward other options because Xbox don't want them anymore. Apparently, there may be reasons as well. It seems the current Project Blade may be behind schedule and way over budget, at least if reports are to be believed. And, as I have been reporting, the game was supposed to be shown at the Xbox Summer Showcase, but it was pulled at the last minute because it didn't run well, and it appears Xbox is wanting to cut its losses, and sadly that leaves Arkane to try and see if they can afford to go independent or if there may be another company out there willing to buy them. I sure hope the best for Arkane Studios because they have made some of my favorite games in the past, like Dishonored. The next studio we're going to talk about is ZeniMax Online Studios, and they were hit really hard. And as you probably remember, they were hit extremely hard last year, losing their lead developer and even getting their new project canceled. Well, this time, reports are saying that the current team for ESO, which was already much smaller because of last year's cuts, it has been gutted. The game's future is even in question. Over 20 individuals at the time of this recording had already posted on social media about being laid off, with many more expected. Inside sources say as much as half the development team have been cut, with some devs even wondering how they will be able to maintain the game with such cuts. It will no doubt change the upcoming roadmap for ESO, most likely much less content coming in the future. Okay, let's talk about the one that most are wanting to know about, and that's Bethesda Game Studios. Well, yes, they were also hit, and hit really hard this time. In fact, harder than any of the other layoffs in the past. Even their union posted this to social media. In what is becoming a stressful annual routine, Microsoft has decided to lay off thousands, including many of us, at Bethesda Game Studios. With over 10,000 developers already cut from previous rounds, those at the top have deemed that insufficient in fixing their mistakes. I'm hearing right now around 40 have for sure been laid off from Bethesda Game Studios, and that includes all 4 of their studios. Now, we may hear of more in the coming days, but who are these 40? What positions are being let go? Well, there may be a clue in Asha's statement. She did mention that overmanagement is a bad problem company-wide at Xbox, sometimes having as many as 14 layers of management. Well, that would definitely make a company inefficient. maybe 10 and 15 years between games inefficient? Well, it looks like Asha is cutting that middle management out, and she continues in her statement, "We will reduce management layers to no more than 5, and where possible, 3. And remember, those 3 will include her and Matt Booty." So, in reference to Bethesda Game Studios, 3 would be Todd Howard, Matt Booty, and Asha. For the big decisions and smaller ones, Todd can have some team leaders, but no more 14 managers. If you remember, there's been several devs that have left Bethesda since the Xbox acquisition that said this is the very reason they left. I know Nate Perkopile talked about trying to get things done with the amount of managers he had over him that he couldn't even talk to Todd because you had to talk to this one and talk to this one and talk to this one, and many left because of that problem. Now, I don't want anyone to lose their job, but you also want a company, a gaming company, to be efficient. Again, you don't want 10 and 15 years between games. So, will this fix the problem? Time will only tell, but it certainly will not hurt. There was a little good news when it comes to Machine Games and id Software, the final 2 Bethesda studios. Even though they were hit both majorly with layoffs, Asha confirmed a commitment to Wolfenstein, Doom, and even the new Quake project is still a go. So that is all great news for gaming fans. It seems Asha stepped on and realized she was stepping into a ship that was already sinking. One of the most striking things she said in her statement was that Xbox had been losing 64 cents on every dollar they invested. Just think about that. Now you see why they are going all out on higher priority projects like Fallout and the Elder Scrolls. In fact, she said this about Bethesda Game Studios and the layoffs. We are also making reductions across other units and in some cases shifting investments to focus on those high priority projects. These vary in size across Activision, Blizzard, Bethesda, ZeniMax, and the others. As painful as today is, I hate to say this, but it was absolutely necessary. Just looking at the numbers, and that's exactly why they brought Asha Sharma in. She's not a gamer, but she can look at the numbers and see that it's not working. We gamers can look at Bethesda Game Studios and look at the numbers in between their games and go, it's not working. Now, again, this is not a guaranteed fix, but these are steps. Even though they're hard, they had to be made. Thank you for getting your Bethesda news right here in the King's Corner. Hey, before you get out of here, I know this is a hard subject, but please like the video if you appreciate what I did. Make a comment down below. I would love to hear your opinion, and it also really helps my channel and this video. Also, if you'd like to support me in this channel, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can become a member of the King's Crew in this channel, or you can become a Patreon, one of my dear Patreons. That link is down in the description below. I am the KingFanMan. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.